world champ, college football pod of all time. All time. You heard. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, welcome to the Waterboys College Football Show. All right, a lot of things on the show. The new wrinkles to profit sharing and its effect on all college sports. Buy or sell on the 2025-2026 college football QBs. Deion Sanders has some choice things to say about a guy that's playing quarterback down there in Vanderbilt. And that was trending last week. And then Texas State makes cryptic post about the Pac-12. So we got a lot of things to get to. New wrinkles of profit sharing and its effect on all college sports. We were talking about this a couple of weeks. How is the profit sharing going to affect other sports? And the number may be higher because this was a number that I pulled a couple of weeks ago. But 32 Olympic sports have been cut at various Division I programs so far. That was within 72 hours, basically, of this announcement about profit sharing. And we all saw this coming, boys. This is not news to any of us. Thoughts?
And here we are.
The issue has been, and like I think all of us are proponents of college players being paid for their name, image, and likeness being used.
Yeah.
But the issue, I think, has been the entire time, the whole conversation has revolved around the big three sports. And really not even – baseball is like kind of not really included except for a handful of schools. But when people think about NIL, they're only thinking about football. They're only thinking about basketball. They're not thinking about these other sports that happen at schools, right? Like nobody's thinking about rowing. Nobody's thinking about fencing. Nobody's thinking about like any of these other collegiate sports at all.
Nobody's thinking about telling Brock Lesnar's daughter that,
no shot
funding's about to get cut. Who wants to tell her she beat me up?
It's just it's crazy and disappointing that this is the route that they're taking. But at the same time, like we knew it was coming. It's profit driven business, and they're going to cut the sports that don't drive profit. That's just what they're going to do, and it's gross. But it's just the nature of the beast.
And shout out to LSU. They had a thing. I can't remember the name of the show. I think I watched it on Amazon Prime, maybe, where they were featuring Angel Reese in her last season, Livy Dunn, the guy I can't remember his name, on the men's college basketball team, and then of course Jaden Daniels. And hearing Liv Dunn's story and how it's just hard going to a lot of schools to do gymnastics, the funding, the program, stuff like that. Like LSU has one of the top gymnastic programs in the country, and that's where a lot of them go. And there's obviously not the same career opportunities like you graduate from college and you go do gymnastics professionally like you can basketball or football or even baseball. And that kind of educated me watching that, just to see there's another young girl too that did running. I can't remember her name, but she was really struggling to get NIL deals. Of course, Liv wasn't having any problems getting NIL deals, but still, just to see the grind and what it's like when you're an athlete like that, trying to figure out which school am I going to go to. When you're a college football player in high school, you know what your options are there, but it's completely different for those kids playing those sports.
Yeah, and if you're a college athlete watching this for some other reason, you're a high school kid that's going to come in. I'm not going to talk a lot about what I do for my real job on top of creating sports content, but I deal with NIL. I deal with brands and athletes. And I listen, I'll just tell you this. A lot of the narrative that you hear is, oh, well, all the NIL money is going to football. The NIL money is going to basketball. A lot of these brands are just looking for athletes with social media followings, with high engagement, and they're looking for people that can promote their brand. You can do that in any sport. So if you're a high school kid and you think, well, well, my play on the field should be enough. Listen, this is unfortunately a life lesson. Nobody's playing on the field until you get to the NFL level. Is how you're going to make money. You got to have personality. Look at your social media following as your resume and build your social media. You know how to do it. Create content. Brands will come find you and
Yeah.
want to do NIL deals with you. Some of the best NIL deals that I have seen done were done with sports like women's volleyball, women's softball, men's baseball, men's swimming. You have a good social media following, opportunities will come, but you're gonna have to take a little bit more control of your own future, which is what we college athletes were asking for at the time that this started. They wanted to have more of a say in what their future looked like and control their name, image, likeness. Well, with that comes a little bit of responsibility on the athlete's part to do the thing that they can, and you can make a decent living playing an Olympic sport. And if universities are cutting programs, okay, then it's going to get more competitive and it's going to be harder to do. SEC doesn't even have wrestling, which is, when you say Olympic sport, that's the first one that pops in my head. Men's wrestling. It's, but they don't even have it. So, it's
Yeah.
going to be profit driven, but, and you can, take some responsibility and build your social media following so that when brands come calling, you can make, some money in college.
Yeah.
Universities are not in this to lose money. They're
Nope.
not.
And that's the thing. If I could say something to the other side of that, because I'm into digital marketing. I know all of us is probably in some form or fashion dabbling in some digital marketing and understand analytics and all that stuff. So now I want to say something to the colleges, the coaches, the AEDs, something to be conscious of. There are people out here in this digital space that can build up social media accounts with all these followers and stuff like that. And you get these vanity metrics, vanity follows. So just because there's an athlete out here that doesn't have a whole lot of followers doesn't mean they don't have people watching, and there's power in numbers. I tell people all the time, you could have 1,000 followers give you $100. You could have 10,000 followers give you $10. I mean, that pretty sure my math's right on that, but it equals up to the same, and it just boils down to vanity metrics at that time. What do you care more about, 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers? It's the same amount of money in that regard. So the biggest thing to pay attention to, I think, especially if you're a coach, a college, an AD, what have you, don't get discouraged just because a student athlete doesn't have, a 500,000 followers or whatever. That doesn't mean that they don't actually have engaged followers. That's the trick. And kids can go out here now and just buy these accounts that's been set up with all kind of fake followers or whatnot to inflate things to make them look more appealing. But there's actually kids out here working their tails off. They've got good analytics, conversion rates, all those things, acquisitions, and there's power in small numbers. So be conscious of that. And if you don't already, get someone that's in this space and understands it that can help you navigate through the waters for kids and the schools. That way we can see more things off merit. We can use all this digital stuff to our advantage, in the right way. But I get it how we're still kind of in some Wild West territories. But just be conscious of that because there are, like, again, kids and athletes out here that may not have a lot of followers, but that doesn't mean that people's not watching them, engaging with them, and they're not worth giving a shot to.
What a weird world.
Well,
Yeah.
and it is weird, but Strez, I will say this: you as a college athlete, if social media had been what it is and NIL was a thing, you at the level you played at would have been getting NIL deals.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But at the same time, it's like, can we just concentrate on, like, I'm thinking about like a running back.
Yeah.
Right? Like going into college, trying to figure out how to get some money on the side, how to, send some money back to his family, whatever that might look like for, a running back, because that's, that's my expertise. If I had to focus on, oh man, am I getting enough views? Am I able to convert these views to follows? And I'm not able to put enough focus on learning what the hell a bear front is, or telling which lineman is in which gap, and understanding where that read is supposed to be if I'm running inside zone versus outside zone. Like, I couldn't have done it. there's no chance I could have done that, because there's so like when you're coming out of high school, yes, you're good. If you're going to play college sports, you are like 3% of what you do. You are a very small percentage. You are at as close to an elite level of a player at your sport as you can be. But there's still a lot that you don't know about the sport that you play until you play in college. And when you're learning that much stuff in college, but now you also have to worry about, getting these followers, building this social media presence, trying to make yourself available for brands to see you, to reach out so that you can get the money. That's just a whole nother level of junk that you have to really worry about. And I feel like such an old head talking about this. Like, I feel like
you're right.
If Nick Saban heard me talk about this, he'd be like, wow, this guy, I should have had him on my coaching staff. He really gets it, right?
Ain't that bad.
Because I'm like, can we just keep the main thing the main thing? Like, it drives me nuts. Like, but at the same time,
there's so much time spent. You got to learn the X's and the O's, and your teammates, and the camaraderie, and all those tried and true things. And you have to worry about how to look cool on your Instagram now.
Yeah. Also, you have to go to class for 12 to 16 credit hours a week, and make sure that you're still getting those grades. Yeah. And make sure that you're still getting fed, taking care of your hygiene, maybe finding some friends to have some sort of social life. Like, college is a lot. If you're an athlete, it's extra because you're doing 30 to 40 hours a week of your craft on top of all of the school stuff and all of the social life stuff and trying to keep getting sleep and eating right. Like, it's too much.
Lot.
It's too much.
And it's affecting everything. I was just talking about this a couple of days ago. Like, even, and Aaron, you may know some of this too, radio stations now.
Yep.
Before they'll really consider playing new music, they want to know what your DSPs look like and what your streams look like. And if a lot of people's not streaming your stuff, they may or may not play it. Yep. And then I think about that with college football. Please don't pass up on an athlete just because they don't have certain number of vanity metrics of follows and likes and all that stuff, when they could be a great athlete and there's power in numbers. Like I said before, like, pay attention to the engagement, conversions, acquisitions, all that kind of stuff, the right stuff. But like Strez is saying, that's a lot, man. Like, I think about it with myself now, with recording new music, you got press and all this stuff that you got to do. And I think it was about 3 years ago when we started getting hit up with, all right, now you guys have to film a TikTok shoot. We're having a TikTok crew following you around at the festival or backstage while you're doing your music video shoot and all this. We had I remember the first time we had a whole day, this company drove up from Nashville. It was a whole day for making TikTok videos to promote the new album. So now I'll switch over to college football. Same type of stuff. You like these kids, I'm assuming, especially these bigger schools, we're gonna have content creation teams.
Oh yeah.
Gonna have to make more TikToks.
Colorado's is fantastic.
Yeah, they're great at it.
Yeah.
Their content team is fantastic.
That's the other great thing too. So if you're not, a team in the Big Ten or SEC and you don't have certain funding, you do have TikTok. You do have social media. You can get creative and garner attention and attraction. But yeah, well, hopefully they'll hire the right people in these programs that can help alleviate some of these workloads. Or if you're a student athlete, you're getting some money rolling in. If you can subcontract that need out, get you a good social media manager, someone to help you with that, someone to help you film and make some of this stuff. Because I know it's fun and everything, but like Strez was saying, man, some of that stuff is so important. Get enough time with your family, enough sleep, enough rest, enough time with your teammates, that camaraderie. Enjoy spring training and camp and gelling and welding together instead of just worrying about, doing this the entire time. Be present and in the moment.
Well, and go over to the marketing department and make friends with all those marketing nerds. I'm saying that because I are one, but go make friends with those guys. They may help you. So,
absolutely.
Yep. All right, buy or sell 2025, 2026 college football quarterbacks. Pull the list of what what the experts are saying are the quarterbacks to watch for college football. We're just going to buy or sell these, how we feel about them. Cade Klubnik at Clemson. Now, Clemson's really high in preseason rankings. That's not anything new. They play in a soft conference. No offense, ACC. It's a soft conference. compared to the two big dogs. But he is high on people's Heisman watch list. Strez, buy or sell on Cade Klubnik.
I'm selling Cade. I haven't seen anything that I haven't seen from most other college quarterbacks from this kid. I feel like I've heard his name for enough years now that I should be seeing like incredible stuff, and I feel like it's just not there. And maybe he takes the jump this year. Maybe he'll do the thing that I'm expecting him to do. But at this point I'm selling.
Steve, your big LSU guy, buy or sell on Garrett Nussmeier.
Oh, I am buying. He's probably my favorite one on this list. Um, just when you watch him, man, and watch his highlights, I just keep seeing the same, trend with all the past couple LSU quarterbacks. And again, I think it's just a shout out to that coaching staff and what they're doing down there with the recruiting and development and all that. And I think he's going to have a pretty good season this year. So I'm definitely buying on him.
I'm taking myself out of this one, so we'll let Strez talk about it. I probably shouldn't. If you, the way we cut this podcast, you can't see it probably if you're watching this, but there's a lot of OU stuff behind me. John Mateer, transfer out of Washington State, taking the trip down to Norman. Are you buying or selling, Strez, on John Mateer?
I'll buy this kid. I think Oklahoma. When we've talked about it on episodes past, like this is a make or break year for that program, specifically that coaching staff. And I don't think that they would be taking a swing on a guy if they didn't really believe in him. And I believe in this guy. I think he's going to have a really big year. I expect Oklahoma to actually do some good stuff this year, even though they have a really tough schedule. I do expect them to make some noise in the SEC this year.
Drew Aller, Penn State. I feel the same way about Drew Aller as Cade Klubnik. I feel like every year Penn State is one of those teams that everyone wants to be really good. They want them to be really, really good. And he has everything that you would need physically when you watch him throw a football to be very, very successful at Penn State. I looked at their schedule. It's not crazy. It's not insane. They get some of their best games at home. We all know that's a hard atmosphere to play in. The whiteout, it's a loud stadium or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and buy Drew Aller. I really think he could have a good year, but he's either going to have a great career year or terrible. I don't think it's anywhere in between. So I'll go out on a limb and say I'll buy Drew Aller. Steve, Lenore Seller, South Carolina, Beamer Ball.
I'm buying him, baby. Let's go. Let's go. His dad may work out for his being his agent. I don't know. We'll see. What did he say? There's no kid his age that needs $8 million or whatever the number was. In this day and age with transfer portal and all that, maybe we can see kind of like the Ashton Genty thing, where he had a chance to leave, but he didn't. Same thing with him. Yeah, I think he can help just invest more into the team, with your quarterback coming back like that and whatever pieces that they put around him this season. And I think he's going to have a pretty good season. They could be a dark horse team to make the playoffs. He could lead them there.
DJ Lagway, Florida, Strez. This is a quarterback a lot of people want to be really good. A lot of people want Florida to get, back on the map.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm looking at his stats from last season. He didn't have the worst year, but he didn't have a very good year. But again, he was young. But I think, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be it could be a flash in the pan almost. But he looks the part. He throws a great ball. And Florida's always a school that's got talent everywhere. And so I'll go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna buy DJ Lagway. I'm in. I'm in on him. I think this might be the year of the young guy, the young quarterback in the SEC. Just because I haven't, but I guess Garrett Nussmeier is kind of an older guy. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I do think that DJ Lag will have a pretty decent season this year, though.
I think as a group, we have all sold Carson Beck. I think we've made it very clear on this podcast and any clips we put out on social media that we think Carson Beck may be one of the most overrated quarterbacks that's been in college football in a long time. Besides the off the field stuff that has calmed down, so we're not hearing about that stuff that like we were hearing about it. But I didn't like him at Georgia. I thought he could do enough to win games. Thought he's a good game manager type of deal, but I don't buy Carson Beck in Miami. I don't think that it works, and I think they're going to lose some games because of him, not win some games because of him. They may win some games in spite of him. That's not the thing you want when you're bringing a guy in that's got that much college football under his belt.
Big shoes to fill too.
Yeah, big time shoes, and he's going to be compared.
Yeah,
easily. First series, those fans are going to be
right away
thinking, well, we brought this guy in, played a lot of college football. We don't want to miss a beat, and if it doesn't work, that's a fan base that'll turn on you quick.
Irvin's going to be on the sidelines, baby, right in your ear.
100%.
So get ready.
All right. I'll give this one to you, Steve. The biggest name to come into college football in probably my lifetime. Arch Manning at Texas. Buy or sell on Arch?
I'm going to buy, and here's why. I think that they're probably going to lose to Ohio State.
You bet your ass.
There you go. But it could be the same effect of Ohio State losing against Michigan last year. I still think that game's what helped galvanize the team. There's going to be so much hype, obviously, going into week 1, and I think that could be something to help galvanize the team potentially and light a fire underneath Arch. Also, it's Arch Manning. Like, he is just so set up for success. Like, he's not having to worry about, I don't think, NIL money or any kind of stuff like that. He's already getting deals coming in. If he needs more deals, hey, Eli Payton, hook little nephew up, and then just go back to playing football. So, and that gives him, I think, more focus to lock in on the X's and O's. Got some decent playing time last year. Hopefully that experience can carry over, and he's going to get more experience at Texas, and I think he's going to do well when his time comes to go to the NFL. I'm calling it now. But, yeah, I think I'm going to buy because I think they're going to lose potentially that Ohio State game, and I think could be a game that could galvanize the team.
And I will say this about Arch and Texas in general. I think by week 4, we're going to be looking at that Oklahoma-Texas game as maybe one of the biggest college football games in that rivalry. Because you're going to have Mateer coming in, vet, a lot of things to like about him. Oklahoma, I think, is poised to have a breakout year. Everyone's eyeballs are going to be on Texas, and that could be one of those Red River rivalries that we talk about for a decade after, if by week 4 those teams look like the experts think they're going to look.
We may have to do some kind of like live watch along or something.
That game, I think, is going to be wild.
That's going to be a wild game.
I don't think Aaron will be present for that one. I think he's.
That's why we have to do it.
He's going to be locked down in a cave somewhere because I know that feeling.
I will be throwing things at my TV if it's not going the way I want.
Can I throw this thought out there real quick?
Yeah.
So I had to look it up because I didn't know the exact number that Quinn Ewers was drafted. He went 231st overall in the 7th round. If Arch Manning is really him, why wasn't he starting over a 7th round quarterback last year? And I maybe there's not an answer for this question. Maybe it's just something for people to think about. But there's something about that just that doesn't quite sit right with me. If we're thinking that Arch is, the next coming of whatever. If that's true,
is it because of how he played, or is it because of his last name?
Well, a lot of people were making the Kyler Baker thing. They were like, well, Kyler sat behind Baker. A big difference between Baker Mayfield and Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, Baker won a Heisman.
Yeah. And
Quinn Ewers went 231st overall.
Yeah, so big giant difference. So it'll be interesting. Real quick here, Deion Sanders told Diego Pavia, the quarterback at Vanderbilt, and this that he couldn't be a starting quarterback at Jackson State. This came out in a conversation with Bussin' with the Boys. He was talking about that he said, my son is playing regardless. Even if you're a better quarterback, my son is playing regardless. He was like, we're looking for a backup. He said, if you're looking to come be a backup, in my head, I'm like, I ain't no bleeping backup. And you know what I mean? And this kid has played well at Vanderbilt, played well. But what to me this story shows is a little bit of why maybe Shador went where he went in the draft. Is as these things have come out, you start to go, okay, this starts to make more sense now.
Yeah.
That Deion was going, I am playing. My son can throw 12 interceptions, and he is going to be the starting quarterback at Jackson State. I do not care. It's just interesting.
It is quite the story. I don't think anyone out there thinks that Pavia, I don't even know how to say this kid's name. The guy that beat Alabama.
Right.
I don't think anybody thinks that he is a better quarterback than Shador Sanders was or is. It is an interesting piece, right? And we are only hearing, his side of the story. We're not hearing, Coach Prime's side. We're not hearing, how it really went. Truth somewhere in the middle there. So, I don't know. It's an interesting story.
Well, and if it did happen, use that as a chip, man.
Seems like he has. I will say that.
Chip.
It seems like he has.
I mean, listen, Brock Purdy got drafted, and he had that same type of dog in him.
Yeah.
Playing
it's very relevant.
Nothing wrong with that. So
and he just got paid, too.
Big time.
Oh, did he?
All right, last thing we got. Texas State makes a cryptic post about the Pac-12. With the new era of NIL, the profit sharing, Texas State has been a school that I've kind of had my eye on a little bit because they've really made some splashes in the NIL world, and it's one of the fastest growing schools in America. And Texas has had a couple of schools over the past, I would say, decade that I always thought if they made the right adjustments in the athletic department and they could put some funding together, that they could play big boy football. Texas State, North Texas being the two that always come off the top of my head. But if you're the Pac-12, I think this seems like if this is the direction you're going, this is a desperation move to try to keep your conference alive. Is you went out and go, what school might be relevant in 5 years with this new era of, what we're doing. And so they're going after Texas State, but this does not seem like a move for the Pac-12 that is like, here we go.
We got him. We got our guy.
Nah, they're going to be the American Conference is what this feels like.
It seems like Texas is going to be like the new state for football. I know they've been an iconic football state for years, but as you were talking, it got me thinking. I wonder how many, because there's been some great programs, great athletes come out of like California, Arizona area over the years. And then I started thinking about how many people from that area has moved to Texas since the pandemic and during the pandemic, and how many crossover football players are now in Texas, more of them. So, and then you're seeing all these other schools in different divisions like Texas State. So that's something interesting.
A lot of oil money down there.
Yeah.
Do they have are they set up like Florida too with the income tax thing?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another piece to it too. You get to keep more of your check if you get that NIL deal. And so we might see the same thing happening in Florida too at all of those schools out there in Florida. I mean, there's fewer than Texas, but you are right though. Like SMU has come back around. Texas A&M's always in the conversation for some reason. TCU was in the college football playoff 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Like
I didn't even think about that. I'm glad you said that. How many more students, this is another topic, are going to choose certain schools because of the state that they're in taxes?
Yeah. They have to worry about income tax now. They didn't have to worry about that when they were getting money under the table because everybody's always been getting paid. Now it's just legal. Now it's just legal, right? Now they can do it openly.
And now you have to pay taxes.
And now you get to get taxed on it. The IRS gets to come after you. Yeah. So, I think that is definitely part of it, I think.
Yeah, schools like UTSA all of a sudden start becoming really attractive.
I wonder if you, like, say you're a player at Boston College or USC and you're getting a bunch of money, can you do the Shohei Ohtani thing and defer some? That way you don't have to pay taxes on it, and if you transfer to a different school like Texas, then cash out then.
Somebody will there will be enough litigation that some of this stuff will get figured out.
I just
That is a good
spoke it into
question.
existence.
Somebody wants to get paid in crypto, or
There you go.
That happened, what, 2 or 3 years ago? Which NFL player was that?
Antonio Brown, wasn't it?
No.
Was it him? No, it was like
No,
a
I guess he was
lineman?
done playing before crypto got big.
Yeah, somebody did.
It's
think it
Odell
was like a
Beckham Jr.
lineman.
It was
Might
Odell.
could've been.
Yeah.
And then when he cashed it in, you were like, "That's a smart move, Odell."
It's pretty crazy. It grew like a lot while it was just sitting there.
Yeah, they got like 5x, and you were like, "Wow, okay." All right, next week on the show, top 5 college football teams of all time. We're going to try to rank them. It's going to be an absolutely impossible job. We're only doing modern era, so basically from 2000 forward. That's not really modern era. I guess it would just be this millennia. But we're going to try to go through there. If you're wondering, there's teams like the 2019 LSU Tigers on there, 0-1 Miami, 0-4 USC, 0-5 Texas, but we're going to try to sift through that list and see if we can put together the top 5 college football teams of all time, and then we can wait for fans to just absolutely light us up in the comments because we missed one, which is fine.
Bring it on, baby.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, boys.